We're online. Yes, we're online. What was it today?
Today it's
It-
And sorry, is it going to be in the episode, or are we just still?
I suppose so.
Okay. So we decided. So today we did a new thing that we haven't done before. Although you do not know, because you always listen to the podcast whenever you want to. But normally, me and Matteo, we record like late afternoon, evening, and when we're both tired, coming from long days of work. So this morning, we decided to have a morning recording session, since we were both free in the morning, and we thought, that the episode would be filled with the energy, the early morning. Spoiler alert, it isn't. We found out that we're not like super morning person.
It is also like 11 a.m. right now, so I wouldn't exactly describe this as early morning. And this says a lot, I think, I'm afraid.
All right. Well, I had a problem with my alarm. Okay, it didn't go off, and also yesterday night I was playing Twilight Imperium until very late, and so yeah.
You really should. I don't think that you should stop actually playing Twilight Imperium, but that's not exactly a great advertisement for our show,
Okay. We can redo the beginning of this episode,
Yeah, maybe so. Hi everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Paya Project, the unofficial podcast about the board game Gaia Project. I am Matteo El Temblo.
And I am Simone.
Hi all. And today, so we're going to discuss a new faction. Well, not exactly a new one, but one for which we haven't done a guide yet, which is Hadsch Hallas, everyone's favorite chickens.
Exactly. So I would just like to point out that I'm also playing Gaia Project. I'm not just playing Twilight Imperium. I've been playing Gaia Project live, so with the physical components of the game. When was that? Last week. After a very long time, I finally went back to playing Gaia Project online, and I would encourage everyone to do so again, because online playing is super cool. You meet a lot of very nice people and very strong players online. But if you get the chance, if you have a group of friends, it's always nice to go back to the all very squared buildings and all the wonderful components of this game.
I recently discovered that there are some people, probably more than some, that actually have never played the game, the physical game, but they play Gaia Project. But since it was put on both Board Game Arena and on the official app by Digidice on Steam.
Yep.
Lots of people have started playing Gaia Project, and this is perfectly fine, of course, but they have never played the physical version of the game. And so I read the it was a post, I think, on Board Game Geek by a player who said, okay, I recently tried the physical game of Gaia Project, and I am so grateful to the digital version, because there is a lot of fiddling, a lot of stuff that you have to remember, things that you forget, and that put a smile on my face, because we have been playing years that way. So guys, it really has never been so easy to play Gaia Project as it is now.
No, to me, I was about to say to me that is astonishing, because Gaia Project is such a complicated game that I always wondered how people who have never, had the physical components of the game in their hands. I always wondered, how can you get into the mechanics of such a complex game just in the digital version of the game. But then again, I'm very old. I come from so when I was young, things were like, made of stuff, of matter
We used to play with cardboard and plastics and not
exactly. And when I was young, so cars were pulled around by horses. Actually, horses were behind the cars, and horses were pushing the cars around. And that's the way I like it.
100% confirm, dear listeners, if you have never been to Italy, you should know that here we have always put horses behind carriages and cars after that.
And cars, yeah, exactly. Until the 60s, there were horses all around. I mean, full
we
of horses.
used horses to push cars. That's a fact. Check it out on Wikipedia. You will find. The thing is that the two experiences are somehow different. Okay, online you can find very high level players, too high actually lately. Please don't play so good. That's humiliating. Still, the aesthetics of the physical copy of your board game is not cannot be beaten. Even if stuff like the power cycle is very impractical compared to the digital version.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You have to physically move around a lot of tiny pieces that tend to, to sleep, and they fall to the ground. They roll, they go everywhere. But still, it's very, very nice.
Right. Oh, speaking about physical versions of the game, I have recently fulfilled one of my lesser life goals, and I made the Pyrogrogic t-shirts. I'm not wearing one.
You could have said you are wearing one at the moment. I mean, nobody's gonna see this anyway. So
no, I know, but that wouldn't sound that wouldn't sound true. So no. At the moment, I am not. But like I think it was like 2 days ago, stuff like that. I had one. I actually went around town with a Pyrogrogic t-shirt, and I was extremely proud about that.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Of course, you can find the link in the description of the. I put them on a store on Tostadora. I'm afraid that this shop is not practical for shipping to the US. So please tell me, please write at pyrogrogic@gmail.com if you encounter like problems, and I will fix them. I will arrange with something else. The design is an original one, by the way. I made the design.
Yeah, they're really nice.
But the drawing was made by my stepdaughter, who is an illustrator, and so I'm very proud of it.
It's very good.
I was very happy with the final product. Both the t-shirt itself and the design came out very, very well. So I like that, and especially they will always remind you not to play Baltax, which is very important.
Yes, so I think everybody needs a token reminding them of what a bad idea is to play Baltax pretty much in every settings.
In this very moment, I am playing a game, an online game, or turn-based one. I decided to join a game with random factions, like no auction, no rotating. No, maybe there was rotating, but anyway, it was like random faction. That's it. Take it. Go on. Out of my office. Whatever you get. So Chris entered the game, and he was given Taclons.
Taclons are good.
Another player, Salt, was given Itars by the game.
Itars are not bad either.
No,
what were you?
It was layers. Sorry. Instead, the person who opened the game, Salt, got Firax. I mean, those ain't bad. It's Sectors and Gaia, but
maybe not a great game for Firax. But what were you given, Matteo?
I was given Baltax, of course.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I knew where this was going.
Of course, and there's the 3 points per Gaia below the navigation track.
The gods have a sense of humor.
Sure they do. Round 4, I said, okay, let's do it. I opened the Planetary Institute, and
this is getting better and better.
Yeah,
Baltax Open PI. Yes,
it was a large building round, and I said, okay, since we are here, let's do this. I got the tile, the 3 points per Gaia, went up the navigation track, and then the exact next move by the other players was to take 2 Gaias next to my planet, like two of them, like exactly 2. And that was also the round, if I'm not mistaken, where also Firax as well as Itars started Gaia forming. it's it's being like a complete mess, like one of the worst games I ever played.
That's
And
great. That's just our friendly reminder.
it's very
So
nice.
monthly, which is now a monthly friendly reminder. Before we used to do this every 2 weeks. Now we're just doing this once a month. So we are here to remind you not to play Baltax. And if you need, another more reminders, then just go and get one of the T-shirts, so you will be forever reminded. You can use it. You can use it like a pajama, So every night you go to sleep and you think, oh yes, that's what I have to remember tomorrow in the morning.
That's basically all we have for you.
Yeah.
We have done like 40 hours of materials about my
Uh-huh.
Gaia project, but in the end, that's all we have for you. Don't play Valtax if you can avoid them. Boy, they are they're terrible. I really
Well,
don't.
yes.
But maybe, yeah.
But let's dive in. Let's dive in today's guide, in today's episode. I am sure that Baltax, will they will pop up again in this episode. Before the episode is over, I'm sure that we will have some chances to talk about to speak ill about Baltax again. But so today, chickens, grilled chicken, roasted chicken. No, Matteo, before chickens, do we have some errata about the last month episode, the Terran guide?
I'm a bit puzzled, because they said all we got, sorry, was like
Uh-huh.
it's great to have you back, Molfo and Matteo.
Oh,
Molfo and El Templo are the best. I'm not making this up. And stuff like this. So I wonder if people have actually listened to the episode. I don't know. No, well,
it's okay. You're great, guys. We love you. Thank you.
yeah, thanks. Thanks to both Mglier and Elfin for the
Yeah, the support.
and the support. No, but they basically didn't tell us much. But I suppose that's because it was quite I don't know what you expect from a Terrance guide, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Terrance guide. What do you want? Go Gaia, go take those trans stems and like
Sure.
win the game. Probably, I don't know.
As long as you're the only one, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking about winning the game, today we're talking about Hadsch Hallas.
Speaking of
Speaking about winning
Speaking about winning a game, okay, this thing, like win the games. You know how we told you like to go win the game. You're playing Terra and win the games. Okay, so today we're dealing with different faction, different type of faction.
Do your best. Do
your best.
Do your best.
Okay, so you picked the Hallas. Good for you. Good for you.
They're nice. This is I think the last guide of factions which actually are not there to win the game, I think. Because we're just missing both Browns, and that's quite easier. That's easier.
Yes.
Itars.
We're missing Itars, and we're missing the other side of the red board. So yes.
Our last chance to do actually something useful for anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the Terrance guide was a taste of what the next 4 guides will be like. We'll just be very relaxed, very recording the episode with a cocktail in our hands and like just go just do your thing and you'll be fine.
It was easy. It was actually
exactly. Easy. So this is okay. This is the last rough guide, and I can relax. Okay, I'm ready.
Shall I start with the faction board then?
Yes. Let's go for the components.
Okay, Hadsch Hallas. Our board is the one of the red ones, as we already said. As usual, we will start with the artwork. I really dig into Hadsch Hallas. They are
okay. I think this thing that Matteo does every episode that we need to look at. We need to intensely stare at the artwork. I think in the case of Hadsch Hallas, so you really should take a moment. So get up right now, go get your physical copy of Fire Garage and stare intensely at the picture of Hadsch Hallas, because if anybody has ever said that the artworks in Gaia Project are not good, well, think again. Here comes Hadsch Hallas.
Actually, Hadsch Hallas are incredible, right? Because you can nickname them chickens or whatever, because they're basically bird people. They are humanoid birds. birds don't have, but they have both wings and arms. So they're not exactly, they're avian, but not exactly bird people. The artwork is nothing short of amazing.
And the artwork is incredible.
Look at the neck. That's not a neck. That's like the neck of the suit, of the jacket that this Hadsch Hallas is wearing, and it's striped. It's cream and red, and I am hypnotized by this artwork. I really love Hadsch Hallas.
So they're chicken people, and they are covered in, not only they're chicken people, they're covered in gold. They have, well, I don't have the names for the things in English that this bird person is wearing, but they have gold all over. So they have bracelets, they have like something of a necklace, I don't know, they have something on their face. It's all made of gold. It's beautiful. So the main thing of this faction is that, well, they're chickens and they have a lot of gold. They're rich, okay?
Sort of a tiara on their head.
Oh, tiara, yeah.
It's not like,
I thought it was a name for a dog, tiara. That's a word. Bravo, Matteo.
you're welcome. But that's not really a necklace. Anyway, they're rich. Hadsch Hallas are rich, and this is the. They had small vestigial wings. This is the theme of the faction. So it's a Euro game. Let's get serious and
Yes,
cerebral. So let's look at other details of the board. Our initial situation with resources is the usual one: 15 credits, 3 knowledge, and 4 ore, which are all going to be better because of our income phase. The power cycle as well is nothing special. 2 power in ball 1 and 4 in ball 2. So the usual beginning situation. We also start with 1 QIC and economy 1. No other faction starts at economy 1, right?
exactly. We're the only faction that get this advantage on the economy track. Yes, which means if you just you started listening to this guide now, you never played Gaia Project before. So what's Gaia Project? So starting at the first step of the economy track means that you will get at the beginning of the very first round, you will get 2 extra credits and you will charge 1 power. Okay, so this is what the first step of the economy track gives you, and you have that at the very start of the game.
Our academies are the usual ones. The labs are nothing special. The mines are as usual. The trading stations are the usual trading station, but on their left, but look at their left, we have an additional income of 3 credits. So we will start the game with our 15 credits, plus 2 for our economy 1, plus 3 for our special income. This is our second faction ability. And so we start the game with 20 credits minimum. We are rich. We are rich.
Yes. Let's finish to cover the components. Then
no, that's it. I mean, no. Sorry.
No, there is one.
Last faction. There's the last faction. The last faction component is the Planetary Institute. Our Planetary Institute, as usual, gives us 1 power and charges 4 each round. But then it unlocks our special ability, which basically allows us to convert credits into other resources. So once we open our PI, we can convert 4 credits into 1 QIC, 3 credits into 1 ore, or 4 credits into 1 knowledge. And this is a huge trap, I think.
Yes, it's basically the same conversions that you have for your power when it reaches the third ball, the power cycle. Sure. But instead of spending power, you can make these conversions. And as we just said, this faction tends to have like a little more credits than average if compared to other factions. So we will get into these. Is this a good ability? Matteo thinks it isn't. In case you haven't.
No. I mean, no. I'm not saying. I mean, it's not. Okay, better to have it than not, of course. The problem is that it is easy to overdo it. It is easy to rely too much on it, especially at the beginning.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. It gives versatility, but it really doesn't the moment you think about it, you realize that it really doesn't give you anything more. Okay, it's not an income. It's not. It's just an additional conversion.
Of course, it's another possibility. It's one more possibility that you have.
I would not rush for it, especially because we have anyway a credit cap income. After 30 credits, you cannot gain anymore. Okay, 30 are a lot. I don't know. It's not the Nebula PI. Okay, it's a bit worse.
Yeah. Okay. That is for sure. That is for sure. But okay, so there is something to be said about Hadsch Hallas that I want to say, before we start this guide, before we get into the details of it. So Hadsch Hallas, I think the closest thing that you get in Gaia project to your average vanilla faction. So Hadsch Hallas are the vanilla faction for excellence in Gaia project. When we started this podcast, the first 2 episodes we recorded in this podcast were about, a tier list of all the factions. That was intended how, something of a joke, but I have to say I still pretty much stand by the things that we said in these first 2 episodes. So Baltax continue to be a terrible faction. Here they are. Here they come, Baltax. And Taclon and Ivitz continue to be very good factions. The point with Gaia project is that if you think of all the factions, there's a lot of factions that we didn't rank very high in those episodes that start with a specific nerf if compared to the other factions, right? So this is particularly evident in the case of Baltax, of course. In the case of Gleans, okay, I think we all know why these factions have a very difficult time because they have been nerfed in certain specific ways, and a lot of factions have received similar, although not so terrible as Glean as Baltax. But like Firax, they start with 1 less ore. Lantids, Lantids start with a bit less of everything. Bescods have this terrible problem that they cannot gain. They don't get knowledge. They don't get science points. And they have 1 less research lab to open at the end of the game, and so on and so on.
You're naming the factions which are considered the worst ones, and I think that it's not random that they are also the factions which have less things.
Yeah, of course, because you have been given a problem in this game, and you have to work around that problem, right? While if you think about it, there are other factions which have been given nothing in the way of, nerfs. As a matter of fact, they've been given a lot of powerful abilities. And on top of that, they get some more powerful abilities, okay? I'm talking Taclons, I'm talking Itars, I'm talking Ambas. There are, possibly Hadsch Hallas are the only faction that have absolutely 0 nerfs. So we just read you the components. We just explained you how the Hadsch Hallas board is structured, and there are no nerfs whatsoever. As a matter of fact, they have some small advantages, but this is it. Their advantages is very small. So what you get as Hadsch Hallas is take 5 extra credits at the start of the game. It's not much, but take this. It's all you get. Do whatever you want with these 5 extra credits. Of course, these credits can become more if you decide to go up the economy track, which, by the way, we recommend to do. But anyways, this is what you get at the beginning of the game. 5 extra credits, and that's it. So this is what I'm saying. This is why I'm saying that Hadsch Hallas are very, very are the closest you get in Gaia project to a vanilla faction.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Again, they are one of the 4 factions which are recommended for your very first game.
Again, not by chance. It's not random.
I recommend you to follow that advice to play those factions. Oh, fun fact, and I don't know, it's fun, it's barely a fact, but Hadsch Hallas were the faction with which I played my very first game of Gaia Project in my life.
You know what? Me too.
You too. Fantastic. Yes. And I really liked it, by the way. I ended the game at 54, so it was a complete success. And I won the game. I won the game with 54.
That's incredible, because I also won my first game with Hadsch Hallas it was a bit more than 54, not much. But I want to be very clear about this. I didn't pick Hadsch Hallas because the game manual suggested that we should pick Hadsch Hallas. I picked Hadsch Hallas, of course, just because of the illustration. I think I want this to be very clear.
It's amazing. The artwork is amazing.
Exactly.
So if you start playing Gaia Project and you play Hadsch Hallas, you will likely end hearing your show about Gaia Project. So be warned and don't do that. Yes, basically they have 18 more credits. They have 18 free credits throughout the course of the game, which
exactly, because it's three times 6.
Around, so yeah, it's not nothing, but it still doesn't seem much compared to the powerful abilities, again, that you said that Itars have. Taclons are going to get way more from their
yeah. So, but even Ambas will get, even if you never opened, let's say you never opened the Ambas PI for whatever reason, I don't know what happened, you're probably sick, you should go home, you should not be playing Gaia Project right now. But imagine that you never opened the Ambas PI, you still get 6 extra ores with Ambas. And in case you didn't know this, 6 extra ores in this game is way better than 18 extra credits. Although at the conversion rate, it's the same. So it's 18 powers. You can convert them in 18 credits or in 6 ores. Don't be fooled. The 6 ores are much, much better.
And since we're talking about rates of conversion, in theory, 6 extra knowledge is way better than both 18 credits or 6 ores, which is what Firax get. Now,
yes.
The mere fact that Firax get that, and the rating they have, shows you that the mere conversion rate is not everything when judging.
Exactly.
Because I don't know. What I would like to say is that due to what you were saying, Hadsch Hallas are one of the most discussed factions in general, and one which sees the most divergent opinions. So I'm going to give you mine, and Simone is going to give you his. But from time to time, an argument which returns is play them however you want. They're very vanilla, as you were saying. You can do anything. Just play them as a vanilla whatever faction with this extra income of 5 credits and 1 power. You can even ignore the fact that they start at economy 1. I disagree wholeheartedly with this. I don't think that's correct under any respect. And for example, my personal idea is quite strong here. And while I think that they can be like quite an expensive faction, I think that Hadsch Hallas are one of the build-up factions. And I think that the best way you can play them is to maximize this initial advantage you have. Again, in my opinion, they are the economic faction, and incidentally, they can be very, very fun when played this way. We'll talk this when we're talking about technologies. I have never seen Gaia forming Hadsch Hallas, which are very discussed in general, really work personally. But there can be a thing, I think, if the 3 points per Gaia is exactly below the economy track. But in general, I don't know. I think that Hadsch Hallas should be played with a heavy accent on their richness, on them being the merchants of the game, and so on. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I don't have like super strong opinions about Hadsch Hallas, because for reasons that maybe we'll discuss at the end of this episode, Hadsch Hallas are not a faction that, let's say, that calls for very strong opinions. But, well, first of all, I agree with the fact, we will discuss this when we get to the tech tracks, but I agree with the fact that Gaia form and Hadsch Hallas for me are a no-go. And all I can say, so Hadsch Hallas are a very vanilla faction. All I can say is that their starting position, they're very bored, give you, a hint, is pointing you in a direction. And my advice is, in this game, always try to maximize what you're given. Try to maximize all of your moves. And so this is my approach to Hadsch Hallas when I play them. I normally tend to go in the direction that the game has pointed me to. Having said this, maybe we can come back to this discussion later, we can start discussing the various points of our guides. What do you think, Matteo?
Sure. No, I just wanted to set the mood for me because I think that they're versatile actually, but
Yes.
in general, the frame is that I will not hint too much to do whatever you want. I'm going to give some precise directions, and basically we're saying to maximize their initial advantage. Also, because otherwise you are potentially wasting 4 easy points. Just going
Exactly.
up and reaching level 3 or 4 since you're there. But it is true that they can be quite versatile. In my personal gaming experience, which is starting to be a bit too much, I think. One person should not play this much Gaia project in their lives. Anyway.
But I was already thinking that about myself like 3 years ago. And here we are.
Correct. Literally, I have never seen Gaia forming Hadsch Hallas to work. So beware. I think that can be a thing. Also, early expansion can work. That depends. We will see. But in general, this is the idea I'm going to. And this is what you were saying. Like, do the easy thing. You start at economy 1. Go up economy. Why not? I mean, it's there. It's easy. Do follow the path of least resistance, and then you can improvise and adapt to the situation. That was just the idea. Okay. Speaking about the initial factors, which allow us to consider Hadsch Hallas.
Yes, let's talk about the map. Let's have a look at the map.
First one is the map, and here we already have a problem, I think, because
do we?
No, well, not strictly to the map. In general, when we pick Hadsch Hallas, we have to consider why should I not play Ivitz?
Yes.
And this is a question.
You want to go there now? Okay.
No, right.
You want to do this? Okay, let's do this.
No. What I'm saying is that this question will plug this whole guide because the question that plugs the community in general about Hadsch Hallas. The map, I think, that already gives us some interesting hints, and that could be that the map is good, but is actually good for a lot of, say, red planets within 3 spaces, one from each other. So you need a QIC to actually go there, but they are not like with just 1 space between. What do you think? I think this is...
Yes. Yeah, I mean, guess what? They're vanilla faction, so they need a vanilla map. What is the map that the Hadsch Hallas want? They like, to have at least 1 planet within one red planet within QAC distance of another one, so that you can get there with just using your QAC. Also, of course, planets at a distance of 2 are very good. You won't get those very often, but Hadsch Hallas in general do not have specific requirements as for the disposition of the planets on the map. Let me say this though. I think that from the first 40 episodes of this, 40 minutes of this episode, you already understood that we do not think Hadsch Hallas to be like a super strong faction. So anything that comes your way, anything that can help you, any help you get, you take it. So maybe good map, let's say a map that has not just 1 but 2 planets, 2 red planets at QAC distance from your own starting planets. Well, that would be really good, right? I mean, you can play Hadsch Hallas in any circumstance. I'm not saying that you specifically need to look for that, but you can always do with some help from the Lord, I guess.
I think that another element is that, the first one is the lack of the orange player. We have orange and blue. Usually, yes. I think that's because of how the planets are put on the map. Oh, by the way, if you play with a random map on BGA, this does not apply to that, but that's completely different. The random map is, I think, a very advanced feature, which I don't like, me personally. But I cannot speak for that, of course. Anyway, if you play with the 10 tiles, which I recommend to do, and that's what we refer to when we talk in this show about Gaia Project, I usually find that the orange planets are the ones where I hop on more easily with red. I don't know why. It's good for you if the red planets are two from each other due to, I think, sectors which have been rotated. Like if there are two red planets within two from each other, or maybe four, that's good for sure. But they are even better for Ivits. So people will not allow that. And if you cannot rotate, in general, Ivits are a better pick because of that, because it's easier for them, to place their space station and colonize the. Instead, we with Hadsch Hallas are looking for maps which have maybe 4, as you were saying, red planets within QIC distance from each other, because it's not good for Ivits, but it's good for us. So
especially. Sorry, I don't know if our listeners are picturing this in their minds. When we're saying 4 planets within QAC distance, what we actually mean is a couple of planets within QAC distance from each other, and then a second couple of planets on the other side of the map that are within QAC distance on each other. Ivits do not like that because they have no use for the second couple of planets. Okay, because the Ivits only deploy one building at the start of the game, and so that is the corner of the galaxy in which they're going to expand. But we as Hadsch Hallas, as every other faction except Xenos, we're placing 2 buildings at the start of the game, so we can play one on one side of the galaxy and the other one on the other side of the galaxy.
This is an absolutely ideal situation anyway. What we don't have specific requirements. What I meant was that, of course, we could use red planets within 2 axes, one another. We can start at navigation 2. It's not that we are. It's mandatory to go up economy, but that's not a situation where Hadsch Hallas are recommended anyway, and that's why I don't like the early navigation Hadsch Hallas, because generally you don't have much use for that anyway. So we don't have specific requirements. Just keep in mind, I think, that we quite like digging. So look also for blue, especially blue and orange planets in around the map, which can help you, like linking your red planets to one another. Nice clusters, maybe, where there are also blues and oranges with red. It's not mandatory. And if there's the blue or the orange player in play, you won't get much from that. You will get nice charge, of course, which is not bad. But that can be effective. Keep in mind that we like digging. And in general, regardless of my opinion, we are not specialized in Gaia forming. So that can be useful. But the map is not super important, I think.
Yeah, I think final considerations that can be done about the map. Well, more than about the map is the relationship that Hadsch Hallas have with other factions in the game. So, who are your worst enemies, or who are your best friends? So Matteo is right. You don't want the orange player to be in game, especially Geodens, because Geodens, they hunger for their orange home planets. If you don't know why, stop listening to this episode now and go listen to the Geodens guide that we did some time ago. You will get less problems from the blue players, especially Terrans. Terrans do not normally care much about their home planets. I mean, they will obviously get them if they can get there. But hey, they're a strong faction, so they can get the blue planets, or they can play without the blue planets because they're gonna get all the transdims anyways. So Terrans are not as bad for your expansion on the map as Geodens are, I think.
Good thing is that Terrans will not look after your red planets. That's absolutely not a problem. Maybe one.
Exactly.
Maybe one if they take the booster, but that's not a problem.
And also, Lantids will not go chasing after your red planets.
You see that with in late game, so it's really not a problem for us.
Exactly. So the blue players are not going to hinder your expansion much. The Geodens are a bigger problem, and the Baltax, well, God only knows about the Baltax.
It's likely that they will go Gaia forming anyway.
Exactly.
In general, I also see that Baltax also have an easier access to yellow planets rather than reds. Anyway, that could be a small problem, but really, they will also go in general up Gaia sooner. So
look out, just be on the lookout for Geodens. And one last consideration about the map. Matteo already kind of introduced this theme, which is the relationship that we have with the other side of the red board, the relationship that we have with our more powerful cousins, the Ivits. So the problem with the Ivits is that the Ivits are very strong. And if you're playing, so this only applies to this guide if you're playing with the rotate section option, which is personally my favorite way of introducing some balancing element in Gaia project, as listeners of the show already know. So if you're playing with the rotate sector option, then what will happen is that the skilled player will try to create maps that are bad for Ivits, especially if certain conditions apply. The most obvious one being if the 3-point perfederation tile, advanced tile, is in play. So in a scenario like that, a skilled player will try to rotate sectors in a way that the map looks really, really bad for Ivits, which is a very difficult thing to do because Ivits are really good at sneaking in places that you wouldn't have thought possible. Ivits can get really creative in the way they expand on the map. So it's really hard to make a bad map for Ivits. You really have to put some energy into that. And a bad map for Ivits means that the red planets will be scattered so badly across the galaxy that it will be utterly impossible for you to play as the more vanilla Hadsch Hallas. You don't have as many tricks up your sleeves as Ivits do. So you will find yourself in many situations, many games where Hadsch Hallas are just an impossible pick because the map has been made terrible for Ivits. That is a problem.
That's also why Ivits are the elephant in the room for this faction, because Ivits really are a problem.
Ivits are a problem.
They are, if not the most, they surely are tied for the most powerful faction in the game. So people will know that. People in general will be on the look for Ivits. And you're right. If they play with rotate, that depends on the advanced styles again. But if one for Ivits is in play, it's quite impossible to play Hadsch Hallas. On the other hand, if you're playing with auction, Hadsch Hallas are often put in just to avoid Ivits.
Yes.
If you can play with Hadsch Hallas, that's a good thing.
Yeah. So so this is not directly connected to the map, but it's connected to what we were saying. So the only advantage that the Hadsch Hallas have and no other faction have is that Hadsch Hallas will never ever have to confront Ivits. And that's a good thing. And that's a good thing because guess what? The Ivits will probably win the game. Or if they're not gonna win the game, they're gonna give you a hell of a time. And so at least when you pick Hadsch Hallas, you have removed one of the strongest contenders from the game. And that is not Norton.
In general, I think that the idea is to have a plan with Hadsch Hallas. Be familiar with them. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. If they are like rotated out, that's harsh. But if they are put into an auction, not many people can play Hadsch Hallas, So if you're one that can, that can be an interesting added value. Anyway, a factor which does not affect much Ivits, but affects us, potentially at least, is final scorings. And I don't have really strong opinions here again. Because, well, let's look at them. The most difficult ones are the true structures. The true structure objectives, I think, are not very good for us. Because, in general, we can expand, of course. But unless we start early with expanding, and it's not very easy because, again, it's not common that you can start with navigation 2 and expand a lot, at least. Okay, we have tile 7 at our disposal. We can place one of our mines there at the beginning and have 2 Gaias within navigation 2 distance. But they can also be contended, especially if structures is one of the final objectives.
Yeah, something about tile 7, since we're still like transitioning from the map to the final objectives topic. So tile 7, there are some people who are really good at what they do that will try to place one of their initial mines in tile 7 and fight with you for those tiles. The obvious pick is Ambas, but also Bescods. They really enjoy a good tile 7. And if in one of these circumstances which you have a yellow planet in another tile that for whatever reason is ended up being at the distance of 2 from one of these Gaia planets, then also Glean can be a problem for you here. And Ambas and Gleans are faster than you at doing what they do. So keep that in mind.
The good thing here is that it's not good for final scoring, but unless you are boxed, I would still place a mine in 7 because of the amount of charge that I can get.
Yeah,
so if
sure.
my first move is to get a trade station there, I am guaranteed 6 charges by
Yes.
the 2 mines.
Mhm.
And no, sorry,
4 charges.
Sorry, 4 charges exactly.
Yeah.
But likely 6.
Maybe more if they build something
because
else. Yeah.
once the player has 3 mines there, one of them
Yes.
he or she will likely upgrade. And bear in mind that we start with 1 charge more than other factions. So that can be interesting. On the other hand, tile 7 is often on the side of the map, at the bottom, of the map. And in that case, you can likely end up having no opportunities to expand. So beware.
But I mean, that is not necessarily bad. I mean, maybe you have a very good positioning with your other mine, and the mine in tile 7 you only use,
Charging.
for getting all this nice charging.
Sure.
And knowing that you will be able to connect that building in tile 7 in a federation only later in the game. So this is something that you need to keep into account, that you probably won't have a lot of buildings around tile 7 for quite a long time. But if you're prepared to wait in order to include that building into a federation, then getting all those weight charges not bad.
Point is that both structure objectives are not our best, especially structures in federation, because with Hadsch Hallas I like to build up and take the 4 power value for large buildings technology tile. And so that does not help for us. In the end, no matter what people say, I still think that Hadsch Hallas are not a very expensive faction. So these 2 are not our best objectives. And it's a bit of a shame because they are not good for Ivits either. So no final scoring is good for Ivits, so who cares? But they're not our best, and we already have 2 objectives at which we are not great. But in general, we are not great at anything. We're not very bad either. So
we're not very bad, exactly. So this is what we were saying basically from the beginning of this episode.
Okay.
Hadsch Hallas are a vanilla faction, and so guess what? Even if you decide to play Hadsch Hallas maybe in a way that is a bit different from what we're going to suggest here today, you can try and compete for structures and structures and federations. There are factions that are way better than you at doing this because of their innate starting abilities. So you will probably end up, even if you compete very hard for this, you can end up maybe second or third. It's very hard as a Chala to, to be the total winner of the number of buildings on the map objectives. You surely do have a shot at it. It really depends on how you want to play your game. Of course, can I say that we are very, very bad at Gaia planets? Because of what we were saying before, we do not recommend you to play Gaia form in Hadsch Hallas.
Well, we're one of the sections which can score which can take 3 or 4 Gaia planets in general. If we at some point decide, okay, let's go up the Gaia track, but we don't have lots of tech, so I think it's a bit of a waste. We are not contenders for that. Maybe we can take 6 points from that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, anybody, almost anybody can take 6 points. Can be third on the Gaia planets objective. The point is, you can make an argument, say, okay, but later in the game we will open our PI, we will be able to produce a lot of QICs out of our credits, and so we can go and take a lot of Gaia planets. Yes, technically, maybe you could say that, but the point is that Gaia planets tend to be taken early, so it's really difficult that around round 4 or 5 you will still have so many untaken Gaia planets on the map that you can go and take so many of them that you will be a serious competitor for the Gaia planets objective.
On the other hand, I found that Hadsch Hallas perform surprisingly well at sectors. I don't know why, but in general, I quite like sectors as a as a final scoring. Of course, I am no match for neither of the blue factions. Best codes are way better because they tend to look for at least 6 sectors, and then we see what happens. But
Well,
but since we are quite rich, we can have.
so sorry, Matteo. Before they errata us,
Good.
best codes are quite good at sectors on the right map. Our point being, you shouldn't play best codes if the map is not good.
Okay, but
right?
we talked for about like 2 hours about best
Yes,
codes.
yes, but just
Okay, I get it. No, once if you take best code, sectors is in play, you are one of the best factions out there. Only Lantids are the best, of course, but
yes,
that's easy. It's easy for them. But yeah, both browns, both blues are very good at sectors. Whites, why not? In general, I think that Hadsch Hallas are a serious competitor for that because we're rich, and so
yeah, exactly.
we can build mines late game and snipe. Maybe 2 mines, which are at 3 steps away for digging.
Yeah.
Again, we are not the best, but that's the frame of the whole episode. We are not the best at anything. There's one thing we are super good at, and I think 2 maybe, but we'll talk about them later.
All right.
Okay.
So the point is that Hadsch Hallas tend to be a relatively resource-rich faction, and sector is probably the most expensive of all final scoring conditions because you need to be able to move around long distances. By the end of the game, you probably have to spend a lot of resources in order to get this to terraform not super terraforming friendly planets, and that has a cost. And being rich helps with that. Having said that, yeah, we're not the best. And the last objective we need to discuss is satellites. And guess what? We're just an average faction as satellites. We do not have any specific advantage apart from the fact that so we're rich. Maybe we'll get some extra ore here and there along the way, and we can convert those ore into power tokens in order to play satellites. We can also convert our credits into satellite basically at the end of the game when we open our PI. So yes, maybe we have this little help in the sense, but yeah, don't think you can compete with factions such as Terrans or even Firax are very good at satellites.
Both Greys are good at satellites.
Yeah.
In the end, the same discourse goes for planet types. Again, we are the same was for sectors. We are good at late building, so we can grab lots of planet types. We can going up both navigation and terraforming suits us. So
yes,
that's quite a good one, I think, for probably the best one for Hadsch Hallas planet types. We are no match for like Nevlas or Geodens. Taclons will smash us, but again, we're not bad.
In general, I would say do not play Hadsch Hallas if Gaia planets is one of the 2 main scoring conditions, because as I have repeatedly said by now, you need some help. Try to help yourself. Try to play in games where you can at least hope to compete for both final scoring conditions. So I would say you can do, Hadsch Hallas are like those kids in school, and when the teacher comes and tell you, you're good and you can succeed in everything you put your mind to. So Hadsch Hallas are a bit like that, okay?
Put your mind onto something, right?
Exactly. So you can be relatively good at pretty much every final scoring condition except Gaia planets, I would say. So steer clear of games in which Gaia planet is one of the 2 final scoring condition, I would say.
There's an important thing which can lead us to think about Hadsch Hallas anyway, I think. And this is the advanced technologies. Hadsch Hallas are a faction. I'm very excited because Hadsch Hallas are the faction which I think likes the most the resources buttons, the advanced buttons, whether and when they are on top of the economy track. If there's a button, especially the 3 knowledge or the 3 ores on top of economy, I will try to get Hadsch Hallas and rush that button and take it right round 2. I love it. They're a good faction for this. I think they're finally they can shine. Finally, these tiles can shine. I don't know if you agree with this, but
yeah, it's just fun that you mentioned the 3 ores and the 3 knowledge buttons, because with Hadsch Hallas, if I can, I really like to also get the 5 credits 1 CIQ button, because that button, it's better for them than it is for any other faction.
they're all good. They're all good. All 3 are good for Hadsch Hallas. I love this. I like when they are on top of economy again, because it's our natural path. It's easy for us. You can even grab round 2 if we are very committed to that. I took the 3 ores button in a not very recent game with Hadsch. It was a streaming game. We streamed that with Babuk. And the other one was, I don't remember. Sorry, it was another player. It will come to my mind. Sorry, but yeah, I took the 3 ore button like round, not exaggerated, and all game long I was disgustingly rich.
Yeah,
I had resources for like everything. It was amazing. And yet I didn't win the game because it was late night, so I made a mistake like last round and went second. But that really helps. Having like 12 extra ores throughout the game is a lot. Or as you were saying, like 20 extra credit on top of our 18 extra is a lot. In that case,
and 4 QSCs.
And 4 QSCs. In that case, of course, you have to open your PI once you have the tile, because that's a lot of versatility. But I think that this is the first case of our series where the resource buttons, advanced tile, say, okay, go for these factions. Go for these factions. Sorry, they're very good. They're all very good for them, especially on top of economy. I don't know where else, because like I don't feel like rushing. I don't know, terraforming, or even navigation. Maybe science. No. I would say economy.
Well, again, okay, we will discuss technology tracks maybe later. Do you want maybe to quickly review the other advanced tech tiles in the game? Is there anything that we particularly like or that we particularly dislike?
No. In theory, we like the 3 points per trading station, but in practice, I have never got much use out of that tile. So I don't know. That tile has a bad timing in general.
Yeah.
The problem is with that tile that we like our trade stations. We're probably the second faction in the game which likes their trading station the most. The first one being Firax, of course, but we can do a lot with those credits. But you know what? Trade stations suck. That's the problem. They are the less efficient
building in the game.
When it comes to resources. They cost the equivalent of 9 credits, and at best, the 4th one will give you 5. So even the last one will take 2 more rounds to repay itself. And this is the problem with trading stations.
And this is one of the reasons why, if new players, at the beginning of this episode, we say, guess what? A lot of credits are not as good as a lot of ores, the equivalent amount of ores. And this is one of the reasons.
And we are the faction which gets the most out of their credits. And gets the most in general. This is why this should really help you understand how much trade stations suck.
And there's another thing. There's another thing about trading stations. Hadsch Hallas, they do like their trading station more than the average faction. However, Hadsch Hallas have the same constraints as any other faction in the game, and that is they want technology tiles and they want to go up technology tracks. And in order to do that, guess what? You have to build research labs. And research labs are much better than trading stations. So you can say, oh, okay, I'm going to take Firax, I'm going to take the 3 points per trading station, advanced tech tile, and there will build a lot of trading stations, and I will make points out of that. Yeah, that's not really how it works, because you need the resources to open your research labs, which in the end you want to do. So you have to invest resources in opening research labs, which means less trading stations. And also, every time you open a research lab, you close down one of your trading stations. So that tile is good for Firax, because Firax get to do both things at the same time. So that's why I think Firax are the only faction for which that tile like really makes sense. But like an early rush for a Chalas to go and grab that tile, that really doesn't make a lot of sense.
Don't get me wrong, I would take that if it's there, if I don't have much
Mhm.
else. This echoes a bit the discourse you made for Geodance. We're not that great. Anything that can help us is
Mhm.
good. Even the I don't know, points per planet types is okay. The point is that, okay, 2 points per Gaia is horrible. But yeah, also the mine ones. Okay, 3 point per mine. That's okay.
Mhm.
We're quite rich. We can build in the late game. 2 points per mine, of course. Do your best as always. 4 points per trade station. That can be really great. The problem is that if the 3 points per federation is in play, there likely won't be Hadsch Hallas, because that's the tile for Ivits. So it's hard. The other ones are okay, but what I want to stress here is that really the resources button on top of economy, to me, scream Hadsch Hallas. They are very good. I don't know exactly why, but if you insist on this being rich and you get even richer and richer, you will have a great time with Hadsch Hallas and will not regret not having.
Because you're pushing the direction that the game is, it's pointing you at.
It's showing you.
But in general, as far as point tiles are concerned, I agree with Matteo. Like take what you're given. Okay, so you don't have any specific relationship with any specific point tile. So what you need to focus on is where can I get in the end, if you play a good game, you can get points from the different sources, and in the end you don't need to score that many points out of an advanced tactile. You can take something for 12 points. You can take 2 points per mines with say 6 mines in play because you're in a rush and someone is coming and it's now or never. Yeah, take it. The example Matteo was giving you, 1 point per planet type, that's a very good tile for Hadsch Hallas because that's not normally a very sought after tile. And I remember winning a game with Hadsch Hallas using that very tile and scoring an absurd amount of points, which is not normal at all for 1 point per planet type. But I remember doing that in an Hadsch Hallas game, especially if you can take that early. We'll get to this, but maybe if that tile sits on top of economy, then you will probably not get a lot of competition on economy because nobody really wants that tile. And maybe you can make that shine, because as we said, you're not that bad at planet types if you set your mind to it.
The fact is that we are so good at rushing the advanced tile on top of economy, both because of positioning and because I think we still like to build up. My favorite with Hadsch Hallas is still the anyway, that we have this advantage in general. Any tile on top of economy is a bit better for us because we can get it earlier.
Exactly.
And
there is another advantage that we have in that respect, that if there is a good tile on top of economy, and well, for whatever reason you're playing at Shala, I don't really know how that happened. It means that your main competitor, is it's out of the game. If are better than you at doing this, but if are not there because you're Chala, you're red, and so you really have an advantage on that. I still wouldn't play Hadsch Hallas if there is like a super good technology tile on top of economy, because then you will get competition, which of course, if you want to, you can get there before other people, but that does not automatically mean that you will end up getting that tile, because you still have to form a federation, you still have to find the resources to open an academy or a research lab, and maybe other reacher or other factions with different abilities, or maybe just a better positioning on the map than you, will form your federation before you and will steal that tile from you. So beware. So you're good at taking the tile that sits on top of economy, but it's not like you're not Ivits. You're not guaranteed to take that tile.
You know what I don't like, actually, is the 3 point per lab, which is weird because it's one of my favorite advanced tech tiles. But it's a tricky tile. And
it is.
In general, I don't like... no, it's not that I don't like my labs with Hadsch Hallas. It's that I like to open my large buildings, especially my academies, with Hadsch Hallas. I can, for example, start the game with the with 2 labs. Sorry, okay, 3 labs would be
Yeah.
amazing, but but it's impossible, I think. But keeping that open because I have the tile can be tricky. So that's not the best. That said, if that tile is on top of economy and for whatever reason I'm playing at Shalas, I will still take that because
Yeah, sure.
I just don't want to leave it to others. So
Yeah, no.
that can be a given.
No, but I agree with you. In this podcast, we discussed that tile several times, and so either you are, either you're best codes, either you are Nevlas. So there are specific factions that have a good relationship with that advanced tile. Otherwise, I don't really like it. You won't score that many points from that tile. Maybe you think you will, in the end you won't. And Hadsch Hallas, I totally agree with Matteo, are not a very good faction for that tile.
So I think this is it for advanced tile. Maybe okay. There's always the 1 ore and 2 points per sector, but they are generally respectively bad and good and situational in general. So
I would just like to add that so because of all the reasons we just discussed, maybe the advanced tactile that give you points instantaneously at the end of the game, they're not the best for you. So if you see that on top of economy there is a tile such as 5 points for federations or even 4 points for trading station, is your advantage on the tempo on the economy track is going to mean very little because you normally want to go get these tiles late in the game, maybe around 5 if not 6, and by that time there will be a lot of people already that has got on top of the economy track as you have. So yes, either you're prepared to take one of these tiles scoring not an ideal amount of points, which I'm not saying it's a bad idea. Just keep that in mind. It's not like you will have the time to score 20 points out of the 5 points per federation tile. That's not going to happen. So just keep that in mind.
No, but you could, but you couldn't get like 12 extra knowledge from the 3 knowledge buttons. So that's where
exactly. That's why the buttons are good because you're good at taking them early. I would say. So, what do you think, Matteo? Just let's discuss this. Do you think that getting the buttons in round 4 is still good enough to invest in them, or it's either round 3 or nothing at all?
In general,
the floor is yours.
No, in general, I don't think that's great. At that point it becomes very hard to answer in a vacuum, because we are aiming for the usual 3 federations. So we are not a faction which is particularly great at federating, even if I have made 4 federations with the Shalas, because since you are okay, this is where also the extra resources help. Since you can build lots of structures more and maybe get the top of economy, you have lots of extra resources which can allow you to build 4 federations. But in a vacuum, I would say no. But that depends.
Yeah,
it's a weird question, because since we are at Shalas, we are so good at going up the economy track and building up. So opening an academy, and our trading stations, even if they are not great as we sell, but we tend to upgrade buildings. So I think that we are so good at going up the economy track that we can take those tiles as early as around 2 if the situation is ideal. But I would say it's almost a guarantee to grab them around 3. So
yeah, I think round 2 is maybe a stretch. Maybe you can do that, but in order to do that, you really have to give up something else.
In general, it's true, but that's the point with buttons. That's why I like them, because of course you are giving up on something. You are making a federation which is not ideal, 99%.
Yes, exactly.
But they give you so much in return.
Yeah. All right. Yeah,
that can be fine. That's the exception in general. So I will likely give away some points, like 3 points per federation. I grab it round 3, even if I can grab it round 2, because I don't care to get like 3 more points, but scrambling up my federations.
Yeah.
But that's not that important with the resources buttons, because I can make up something with the resources that specific tile is given to me. So in general, the answer to your question, in my opinion, is no. if nothing else
Yeah.
is better, okay, I'll grab it around 4. It's not the end of the world. It's not that big of an advantage at that point. But the point is that, especially with Hadsch Hallas, the problem does not pose itself. You don't have to decide, because by round 3, that's basically guaranteed that you grab.
All right. Yeah, I think an argument can still be made for one specific advanced technology tile that we forgot to mention. That is the 3 points per mine the moment you place a mine on the board. So if that's on top of the economy, you have a good shot at being the first who gets there, grab that tile relatively early, and then you are rich because you're at Shala and because you're on top of the economy. And so you have a lot of resources to place those mines around the map. So I would say that if you can grab that, maybe start of round 4, even round 3, that's at least a guaranteed 15 points. I mean, at that point, it's really easy to score at least 15 points with that tile. The point is, that tile is very good. A lot of people know that, and a lot of factions are gonna run for it, as you are. Taclons here being a very obvious possibility. So be on the lookout for competition, but that tile could be good for you.
Sorry, I overlooked that a bit before. That's a good tile for us because of the very specific reasons that you just stated. In general, I think that, okay, Taclons are a fearsome competitor. They always are. But I think that we are so good at grabbing the tile on top of economy that we can challenge Taclons without without too much fear, because we are very good, but we are even better because we have that extra step on them,
Yeah, at that point it all goes down to positioning on the map, and even round order, even turn order at that point can become a factor in round 3. Who plays first, and all this. So there are too many factors to be discussed here in a vacuum. But yeah, we can surely put up a fight.
I think in general we are one of the best hard counters to Taclons when it comes to the economy track,
Yeah.
Because who else can challenge them there? Okay, Ivits, of course. That's always a given, Ivits. But in general, we also are an economic faction which is rich, but not as rich as they are, because it depends. But in general, not. But we are better than them at Gerbil. That's my idea, anyway.
All right.
We want to talk about round scoring, maybe.
Okay. Well, since we're here, maybe we can already transition into technology tracks and go back to round scoring after that, because I mean, we've been talking so much about the economy tracks that let's just say it. You want to play at Hallas, a very obvious thing that you can do is just go up the economy track. So a very classic at Hallas start is you build your academy, you take 3 steps up the economy tracks, and by the end of round 1, you have 4 extra credits, 2 extra ores, and initial charge of 4, which is really, really a lot. You're going to be filthy rich entering round 2, especially with your 3 extra credits on top of that. Entry knowledge income from your academy. If you manage to get one of the boosters that give you 1 extra knowledge round 1 or round 2, you already have another step on another track at the beginning of round 2, and you will probably have enough resources at that point to build another research lab. That's a very build-up start. You're not expanding at all in this scenario we just described, but by the end of round 2, you can be on the 4th level on the economy track, and on the 2nd level or any other track you want. And you start producing 4 knowledge points from your board alone by the beginning of round 3. That isn't bad. That's a very solid start resource-wise. And maybe at that point you are at navigation level 2, and you can start expanding in the 3rd round of the game.
Yeah, in general, I think that as I said before, the academy opening.
The 2 knowledge academy.
For as much as I like the QAC Academy, I think that with Hadsch Hallas, I want the 2 knowledge academy. That's stuff out of my hat. I don't know why, but what we can sorely miss are the knowledge points in general, because everything else we have plenty of. And with that secured, I'm fine for the rest of my game. But yes, in general, I think that the lab and academy opening topping the economy track is, I think, is the best. But if it is not the best, it is for sure the safest start for Hadsch Hallas. So we are already there.
Yes.
We are charging 4 at the beginning
Mhm.
of each round, which is also why I think Gaia forming is not good for us, because we waste on so much charge
Exactly.
with that.
Exactly.
And we are set up for a very good game. The science track is not the super best for Hadsch Hallas, but we can maybe take a step there. So we already fixed the foreknowledge income.
So don't forget that in doing that, you're getting 2 basic tiles, right?
Okay, I know where you're going.
One of these 2 tiles is very good if you can get that. Is the one knowledge, one credit.
Right.
So you have fixed your knowledge problem. Entering round 2, you have 4 knowledge points, and you don't need, at that point. It's not even like super important that you open that second lab round 2. You already have your standard income of 4 knowledge per round, and so maybe already round 2 you can focus on expansion, for instance. Another thing I really like with the Hadsch Hallas is taking the maybe a little underrated one or charge one basic tech tile, because that tile combined with all that you're getting from the top of the economy, it really means you're going to be filthy rich. It means 3 extra ores per round starting round 2. That's very good. And if you can combine that with another income tile, so if the one credit, one knowledge is not available, you can even think 4 credits. That maybe it's a bit overkill, but it's gonna come in handy when you open your PI. Also because, as we said, you won't play with that many trading stations open as any other faction. So 4 extra credit, always good. And also, or the charge 4 button, which is always good pretty much for every faction. You are enhancing this innate ability of having a very efficient, very good power cycle. So
No, I think that you summed it up very well, actually. What we like to have at the end of round 1 is basically, well, the 101Q tile, because we need it to open our academy in general, and an income tile. You know what? Basically anyone, because they're all good for us. And
yeah.
this is another point for Hadsch Hallas, which is something of a specificity, because not everybody like everything. We do. We do, because it also depends on the boosters, of course. But as you said, every income tile has good points for us. I especially like the 1 ore and charge 1 base tile, because combined, as you were saying, with economy level 4, without doing anything at the beginning of each round, we get 4 ore, which is insane. It is a lot, really a lot of ore. There are factions which struggle with 1 or 2 ores, and instead we get 4 without having any mine on the board, which is good, because we could, even at the point, we could focus on building up. So that's really a great help. The other track, after economy, in general, it depends. It can be, I think, in general, is navigation, can be terraforming.
Navigation, terraforming. I don't really believe, not just for Hadsch Hallas, but in general, I don't really believe in the combined climbing of economy and science. I think that very rare. I've very rarely seen that work with any faction. So I would say that yes, either you focus hard on economy and then it's just either terraforming or navigation. So that's in this sense, Hadsch Hallas have a rather scripted game, right? Because you know that by the end of the game, you will have climbed economy, navigation, and terraforming. Maybe you're gonna top one of these 3 tracks, maybe 2, something like, very unusual happened. But basically, these are your 3 tracks. There is a different approach to Hadsch Hallas that some people have, that is saying, all right, you are already richer than the average faction. So that's an advantage. So you don't have to worry about resources as much as other factions do. So use that advantage. So you can climb up, you can do an early climb on navigation with a strong expansion in rounds 1 and 2. So you will get a lot of ores from your mines because you're expanding, and you're already getting a lot of credits because you're a Hadsch Hallas. You don't have to do anything, and you will get at least far more credits than everybody else per round. That is totally doable. That is totally possible. So either you build a research lab, you go up 2 steps, navigation, round 1, and you start expanding, or another possibility, you build the academy, as me and Matteo suggested, and instead of taking 3 steps on the economy track, you take 1 on the economy track and 2 on the navigation track. So start of round 2, so you don't expand, more likely, round 1, but start of round 2, you already have a navigation 2, you're ready to expand, and you already are at economy level 2, which means you're getting that very juicy extra ore per round, plus you have opened your academy, and so you're making a lot of knowledge points. So either you go full economy, you go full navigation, or there is the mixed strategy, I would say.
There is another, talking about openings, there's another possibility which was recently discussed on the Discord. I can't find it now, and I forgot to get it before recording, but it was basically centered around the openings of the opening of at least I think 2 research lab two trade stations around as early as possible. No, the 2 research labs opening is also possible. You can delay the academy round 2. It depends on the round scoring, basically. But yeah, no, the idea was to open having sort of a Glean-like opening, colonizing as much as possible, but don't focus on not focusing on mines exclusively, but like opening as many research labs as possible.
Training stations.
No, because I can't say that. My brain refuses opening as many trade stations as possible, so that you are going to open your PI now. This can be. I'm sure that this is nice when it works.
But does it though?
To be honest,
I'm sorry, bad MOLFO, bad.
No, that's exactly the point. To be honest, I have never seen this work. I don't, and again, I don't know why you should do that, because to me it seems a bit like, okay, I am at Hallas, I have more credits, I have my PI, and I want to use it, because really, why? Just go up the economy. It's there. It's easy. Go up the economy track, and then we will see. I agree with you that science is not a great share track. The only faction with which I've seen that work flawlessly is Nevlas up to now, both the science and economy, and also Lantids. Sorry, are Lantids and Nevlas, but the 2 factions are lots of similarities in my opinion. But yeah, generally those are the 3 tracks we are going to climb most often. QIC is a possibility. It's very situational. It depends. In general, I like to go up terraforming. It's not a given. Again, we are flexible in this, but I wouldn't skip on climbing to economy as early as possible, even if navigation 2 is a possibility, of course.
Yeah, and sorry, as far as the early PI strategy is concerned, I really have to push back against that, because if your plan is to build as many trading stations as possible round 1, and then so round 2 you open your PI, and so each of these trading station is giving you, well, how many trading stations can you realistically hope to open round 1? Let's say even if you open 3 trading stations round 1, I don't believe that. I do not believe that. I think 2 is a more reasonable. But my point is, and then you're using 3 are really a lot. So let's say that you open 2 in a couple of mines, and then so the idea is, okay, I'm gonna get a lot of credits out of these trading stations. Actually, you're not, because you are opening your PI, and so one of these trading stations is gonna be closed anyways. But start of round 2, you're gonna have you're gonna have a lot of credits, because if you have 2 train stations open, you have 7 plus another 5, so it's 12 credits. It's okay. But my point is, and then you're gonna convert all these credits into ores, because that, hey, I opened my PI, so I'm gonna use it. So my point is, why didn't you open a mine? The mine is giving basically the same value, but it's giving you positional advantage, which is so much better than just getting an extra credit from your second trading station. It does compare in the slightest. Also, if you have opened your PI and trading station, that means you didn't take a lot of advancement on the economy track. Basically, just one, probably. I don't know if the idea is not to open even a research lab round one, which doesn't really make sense to me. But if you do that, you're not gonna get a lot of money out of the economy track. And so my point. So, and this is final. Early PI with Hadsch Hallas is just a bad idea, because you don't yet have the fuel to make that work. And if you have, you are sacrificing A, map advantage, and B, tempo on the technology tracks.
That's the worst. In general, though, I don't want to dunk against the PI. It's not bad.
No, I don't want to say the PI is bad. I'm saying round 2 PI is bad.
By getting it early, the problem is that it doesn't grant you any income apart from the charge for, the
Which is not enough.
The Glean's PI is way better under the point of view of the income.
Yeah. Have you heard that? Have you heard what we just said? The Glean's PI is better.
And I stand by that. It's way better. It gives you 1 ore, and the Federation, which gives you money back. That's way better. And it still is, as an understatement, it's not one of the best ones in the game. I'm not following our usual order, but since we are here, I just want to say something which we can expand later. But I want to say something really good about the PI of the Hadsch Hallas, because do not open it early. The tracks are those we talked about.
I think it's obvious by now why we do not think that the Gaia track is a very good option for Hadsch Hallas, because you are in Gaia. If you start Gaia forming, you are giving up on that super good power cycle that you now have, because you've been climbing up economy. So if you decided to go up economy, Gaia forming is a no-go, because we already said you're not like the super strong faction with a lot of tricks up their sleeves, and so you don't give up one of the good things that you have, that is your power cycle. If you decided that you won't go up economy at all in this game, and then you're playing a navigation Gaia forming Hadsch Hallas game, well, I don't really know what you're thinking, where you're going.
What on earth are you doing?
So why pick Terrans, pick Itars? Why are you doing this to us?
Don't do that.
Even Bascos are better. If you tried that, if you played a navigation Gaia forming Hadsch Hallas games, and that worked spectacularly, let us know, because we sure have something to learn about that strategy.
Ambas are better for that, because your PI will give you 2. Ambas are better. Just do it.
Yeah.
You're going up in navigation anyway. You will open your PI, which is amazing. So just do it with Ambas. Don't do it with Hadsch Hallas. Why?
Yeah, do it with Ambas. Spoiler alert: we're not saying you should do it with Ambas. Don't do it with Ambas.
but they're still better. No, what?
Okay, sorry.
That's correct. Even, but since we were talking about our PI, which is Hadsch Hallas are quite an interesting faction, because there's a lot to say about them. In the end, I like our PI, and this is because specifically it allows us for what I think is our signature move. We open our PI.
Yes.
And here's one thing which is always valid for Hadsch Hallas. You have an important limitation, but also you have a quest. You have a task. You have to get a 6 credits Federation.
It's easy. We're not asking, so not a tall order. We're just tasking you with this thing. You need to get one of the Federation's token that give you 6 credits. It's not that hard. Normally, people go after other tokens before they go.
No, but it's not easy. as well, and especially if the 6 credit federation is on top of terraforming, federating is one of your priorities. You have to get one, absolutely get one. Again, Hadsch Hallas tend to federate early, so that's an advantage for us. But once you have that federation tile and your PI, we finally have access to this Hadsch Hallas signature move, which is, as the first action of every single round, you convert your credits into QICs and rescore
12 credits into 3 QICs.
And rescore that federation immediately.
Thus getting back 6 credits.
So the balance is that it will cost you exactly 6 credits because you spend 12 in QICs and get 6 back. So you will spend the 6 credits and you
will score 7 points.
7 points. This is the best, the most efficient way to score in the game in general, not in DLCs. Also, you can do this at the beginning and should do this at the beginning of every round.
Yeah, to deny these points to other players.
Deny these points to other players. QIC actions are very easy for us to have access to as long as we have credits. And I'm saying this to say that RPI allows for this, so it's good. After that, the idea would be to grab the 7 credits power action. That is heaven. So we immediately have more credits to grab even. And since we like terraforming, that also synergizes very well with the 2 QIC actions. Hadsch Hallas live and breathe on QIC actions to score. This is very important for us. Yeah, allows for that. The terraforming track suits perfectly all this. And I'm saying all this just to say, in conclusion, that we do this in the face of Baltax. And this is the reason why.
Oh my God, I was about to say that.
Oh, but they are good at QAC actions. No, Hadsch Hallas are good at QAC actions.
Exactly.
We dunk on them.
Yes. So Hadsch Hallas have
but they lose time freezing Gaia Formis. We just take credits and convert them into powerful QIC actions. While they, no, but my Gaia Formis are down. No, you can't.
While your Gaia Formers are still, locked down somewhere in a remote corner of the galaxies, Hadsch Hallas are riding on a train made of gold and encrusted with diamonds and rubies, and they are scoring Federation's, QAC action in your face, and then they're gonna lose the game, of course. But you, Baltax, you're also you're going down the gutter with them. You're going down the drain with them.
Well, I don't know, because if this is probably our main way of scoring. If Hadsch Hallas start with the correct rhythm of QIC actions, the scoring can be really interesting. You win games out of that. Actually, I think this is the way we win games. And also, never forget that also the 4 QIC action is an option, and that can be often really important, both for advanced and not technology tiles. But the best thing is to deny the rescore Federation action to everybody, always, which will have them very mad at you at some point, but that's not a problem. And, if you get at least one of those 2 actions, better 2, each round, that starts to be hard to overcome for other players,
Yeah. All right, so as you can hear, Matteo is very enthusiastic about this whole idea. I wholeheartedly agree on the fact that Hadsch Hallas are one of the factions that have one of the strongest, relationships with the common actions, both power actions and QAC actions. Power actions because as soon as we open our PI, the 7 credits action become very, very good for us, even better than so normally in a vacuum for a random faction, the 2-hour action is better than the 7 credits action. But when Hadsch Hallas open their PI, then the 7 credit action becomes better because it for us is worth exactly 2 hours plus a little candy, a little biscuit. Exactly, we get the extra credit. But especially, we have a super strong relationship with the QAC action. In the end, I think very often you will have to decide, do I want to rescore my Federation for 7 points, spending 6 credits? Or, depending on the number of planets that you have, maybe you want to spend 8 credits, two QICs, which is a bit more, but maybe that's going to net you more points. And maybe you are going to deny a particularly planet-rich opponent some extra point. That depends. All right. That's entirely situational. However, so we started this guide saying that Hadsch Hallas like are not super strong factions, and now it might seem like we're saying, oh, but this is super good. Hadsch Hallas can do all the tricks with QACs. It is true, they can, they do. I think it's very difficult to get both QAC action every turn. This is for two reasons. The first one is that people will contest at least one of those normally, especially in coming round 5 and 6. And so that's hugely dependent on turn order. So that's another very important thing for Hadsch Hallas. They always like to play first or second in order to be able to get at least one of the two QAC actions. And the second reason why it's hard to get both of them is that because, okay, you are rich, but you are rarely that rich. So that's a total of, even if you get 6 back, that's still a total of 14 credits. And then you're still supposed, to do something with your round, maybe build, maybe expand. And the bottom line, my personal bottom line here is, and so I'm gonna say this beforehand. We're not at the end of this guide yet, but I'm gonna say this. Very often for Hadsch Hallas, this is too little, too late. We are super good at this. So Matteo is right. This is our signature move. You should try to do that every game, every round if possible. But at the end of the game, we're not going to score great from advanced tiles. We're not going to score great from end score objectives. And so in the end, guess what? We will end up in the range of 160, 170. That is the ultimate doom of almost every Hadsch Hallas games. Meaning that it is possible that it's a weird game. No, it's not a weird game. It's just one of those games where nobody scored like a particularly high score, and so you win 172. You win. Congratulations. Or most likely there is a better faction on the table that has scored more than 170, and you're second or you're third, and you lose. This is my final takeaway with Hadsch Hallas, which I'm going to not at the end of this episode. I don't know why, but the point is, Hadsch Hallas are rather good at scoring. They're rather systematic to score 150, 160, 170, but I rarely see Hadsch Hallas go bigger than that, and that I would say is their main limitation.
Okay, I can't say I agree in general. Okay, they're not explosive in scoring like other factions, but personally, I consistently think I score more than that. But still, 170 is not that bad. To be fair,
170 is not that bad if you can get there, and if that really depends on how the rest of the table is faring.
Sure. No, my point was more than absolute scoring, which is not a great indicator again, is that okay, first thing first, these are the reasons, the QIC actions, why I think we should bank credits from one turn to another. So grab this 7 credit action. It's not as efficient as the 2K action, but here comes the versatility point of my idea. Bank them, open your PI like by round 3, 4. 4 is more likely, to be honest. And my point was, if we are going to win the game, we are going to win it through QIC actions. They are decisive, I think, for Hadsch Hallas.
Yes.
Of course, that's not the only source. You have to do everything, but they are the reason why we bank credits. Actually, we can do anything with our credits, but if you spend 16 credits for one technology advancement, that really has to count. It has to be, I think, the top of a track or something. But if you spend 6 credits to score 7 points, again, there is absolutely no more efficient way to score in the whole game.
I agree.
And you're denying those scores to other players.
Sure.
Those are important. You're going to win. That is the way. It also synergizes very well with everything we said up to now. We go up economy, so we have even more credits, and we go up terraforming, so we like planet types.
Yes,
and we get even more points for the QIC action. Of course, joking aside, if one of the two oranges are in play, like Geodance, especially like the QIC action for the
Yeah.
Baltax, again, joking aside, will steal you at least one of the two actions here and there, even if they have their important limitation, which are no joke actually. But
well, there is to say Baltax probably, well, depends what game Baltax are playing, but it's not necessarily the case that Baltax want to invest 2 QACs in the 1 point per planet type.
No. I was thinking more of the Rescore Federation, and especially if they are going up the QIC back, which can be something.
Yeah, exactly.
But that can happen.
Xenos, that's more dangerous Baltax.
Xenos will steal it for you.
Yeah.
Again, at least. So we generally talk about the 4-player game. So a lot of them which can be stolen from you. And that's also why Hadsch Hallas do not perform exception. Neblas are very good at them because they're
Neblas, Taclons. Again, good thing is that Ivits are not there. So at least we can take comfort in that.
They are not. We are the best. I honestly think Hadsch Hallas are the best at the QAC actions.
I agree. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. What I think is that very often that is not enough to win you a game.
And that can be the problem. Yes. But I think that
otherwise we would just see more Hadsch Hallas wins, and we don't.
Sure. No, I think that this needed to be stressed because people often overlook that, and I think they are underestimated their potential.
Anyways, I think we still haven't addressed the very important topic of round scoring bonuses.
Is it
Sometimes it's very important. Is it though? Is it? I don't know. So what do we like to see with Hadsch Hallas as round scoring bonuses? What round? In which order?
Well, maybe I don't know, like science at the beginning, like very round 1.
I mean, yes, why not? I guess we can. Yeah, it's either round 1. I think both large buildings and tech bumps are both good because that means we will score if we open with an academy, which is not a given, but if we do, it means that we get 5-6 points depending on the scoring condition, and that can be good. Obviously, if we decide to go for the Hadsch Hallas mines pre-opening, then maybe we also like mines. Round 1, round 2, depending when we do with the actual mines pre.
Okay, but the thing is, I don't think Hadsch Hallas when I see mines round 1. And also, this time I really like that academy opening, and I know that I'm pushing it.
Yeah.
I'm pushing it very hard. I also was quite had a strong opinion on the not Gaia forming. I know that, but the thing is that with Hadsch Hallas, I like the build-up approach so much. I really can't help myself.
Yeah, no, me too. Me too. Personally, my personal play style, I prefer that. But I'm just saying that the other Hadsch Hallas games is a possibility.
Sure.
And well, as long as you can open, like 3 mines the same round, it's 6 points. So round 1, round 2, that's pretty good.
Yes, indeed. So the map has to be in our favor, which
yes,
is basically what we said. But sure, that's a possibility. And in general, I would say that here we are very vanilla as well, meaning that
exactly.
Aside from the usual, we don't like Gaia planets on the late game because that's basically good for Gaia forming fashions. And again, maybe I'm going to contradict myself and say that in that very specific case, we could consider some lightweight Gaia form. No, I don't think we should.
No, honestly.
No.
That's just a no with Hadsch Hallas. I really see no reason for going the Gaia forming way.
I won't contradict myself.
And if the round scoring conditions are Gaia heavy for the late phases of the game that just don't play Hadsch Hallas, or be
yes.
sure that you can get your points somewhere else. Exactly.
Right.
I would say
just to end my sentence. It's the usual. We don't like late Gaia bonus, but aside from that, I think we'll never see something which really tells us play Hadsch Hallas according to scoring.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree. It's not like other episodes that we had and we other guides in which we commented, in which like, for instance, how Gleans, how they heavily rely on the round scoring bonuses. Best codes are another faction that can do that. There are some factions that have some specific tie with a specific round scoring condition. Hadsch Hallas are not one of those factions. I can't really think of one round scoring objective that they're really happy with. I don't think, for the reasons that we already explained, they do not have the super strong synergy with the trading stations that one might think. So okay, I guess you can make a case if you have opened your PI, say round 4, and then round 5 you get trading stations, so 4 points for each trading station, then I mean it's better for you than it is for other factions, because other faction, if they want to open a lot of trading station, they have to close down some of their mines, which means less ore entering round 6. For you, it really makes no difference. So yes, you can score good from that and still be very competitive in round 6. Okay, yeah, that's maybe the strongest argument that I can make for Hadsch Hallas have a very strong bond with this round scoring condition.
Yes, let's say that once you open your PI, you can close your mines in order to upgrade them to trading stations quite carelessly, because that's basically for you. The problem is that, as we said before, you really don't have any special synergy with that, because trade stations are not really good structures on their own. And so you will spend lots of resources and you won't get many in return the following round. But yeah, that's like, say, mid-late game trading stations is okay for better for
that's what I'm saying. It's good for points. Of course, in the early game is really bad. Opening trading stations, say, instead of mines, bad idea. But round 5, if you have to open a lot of trading stations for scoring, then at least you're not losing anything. It's not like you will lose the ore that you would have gotten round 6. You will still get that in the form of 3 credits, 4 credits, 5 credits.
We also are one of those factions which quite like late game terraforming bonus, but we are not as good as that as maybe Nablas or Tarklons or those factions which are actually good at having a very
Gaia project economy. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
But also. That's true, because they're just those are just better factions than Hadsch Hallas. I'll say that.
We are one of the rich factions of the game, or we can be, and so yes, when it comes to heavy terraforming in the late rounds, that always can mean a lot of points, but also means a lot of resources. So being rich helps with that. So why not? But as you said, I wouldn't say that we have a super strong connection with that round scoring condition. Not as strong as Tarklons and Neblas, and
it could be if we took like the three ore button on top of the economy track, like very early. Yes. That of course helps, but that's situational. You will recognize that when it comes, when it shows itself. That's good. But in general, I think that the point is that the order of the round scoring bonuses is not vital for Hadsch Hallas. That can be an important source of additional points, but that's not what makes you think, okay, I will play Hadsch. Be careful if there are late game Gaia Planet bonuses, however, because Hadsch Hallas are a viable pick if you happen to face like 3 for some reason, heavy Gaia forming factions, and then you are like the only one digging, terraforming.
Yeah, sure.
And so you're also in a sort of an inverted situation, inverted ideal situation for Terrans. You are like
sure.
The opposite one.
Yeah, the more Gaia forming factions in the game, the happier you are, because basically you're not good at this game, and so you don't like competitions.
Maybe an interesting source of points can come from round boosters. What do you think?
Round boosters, well, at Hadsch Hallas, of course, they do love the good old 4 points per large building plus charge 4. That's a very good round booster for Hadsch Hallas round 1. Also because, this we can say, they have a special connection with that round booster, because at Hadsch Hallas, if they charge 4 round 1, that means that they get 3 power tokens in the third bowl of the power cycle, which means that they just have to burn 1, and they will get access to one of the 4 power actions. So 2 ores or 7 credits, or 2, well, not so common, but 2 knowledge points. That's because at Hadsch Hallas start at the first step of economy track, so they have 1 extra charge at the beginning of the game. Other factions, they do not. So even if they get large buildings round booster, then they only get 2 tokens in the third bowl, and then, well, I mean, you can still burn 2 and to take one of the power actions that are worth 4 power tokens. But who does that? That's really hardcore Gaia, I'd say. I mean, you really need to have a good plan on how to get those tokens back. Of course, this is without mentioning the Ivits, of course. But, well, at least you won't get competition from the Ivits as
correct
as playing heads of Hadsch Hallas, as we said.
That booster is especially good round 1 for Hadsch, I think, because it naturally leads into like burning 1, as you were saying, as your first action, grabbing the 2 ore, and so that in turn leads to the opening of your academy, which will give you the 4 points from the booster.
Exactly.
That's probably the best one for Hadsch Hallas round 1. Yes.
If you want to open academy, definitely. Yeah.
I also like the 1 ore and 1 knowledge for some reason with them, probably because
because if you open your academy, then you will enter round 2 with already 4 knowledge points, and also it gives you an ore, which is always good. That's why you like ores. I like ores.
And you, of course, yeah, and that's true, because we already start with more credits than the other factions. So, if anything, we need more ore round 1 than.
Yeah, true. And that's one of the reasons why we really, I mean, we have a weird relationship with the 4 credits round boosters give you points for Gaia planets, because normally we don't take that many Gaia planets, so we won't score out of that, maybe 1 or 2 points, but no more than that. In the beginning of the game, we definitely do not need that, because we already have plenty of credits, and normally we are richer credit-wise than other factions. So it only maybe can become useful in the late game when you have your PI open, because that 4 credits you can convert it into other stuff. So it's a bit better than getting 1 ore, getting 4 credits. But at the end of the day, I think that booster does much more for your opponents than it does for you. And so Hadsch Hallas are better off in games in which that booster does not show up.
Also, I recommend to do your math when you're thinking about credits with Hadsch Hallas, because okay, that's 4 credits. We are very versatile with them once we open our PI. But what exactly are 4 credits? It's just 1 ore and 1 extra credit. I mean, the QIC and 2 credits booster is already way better than that. Who cares about 4 credits? It's really not a good booster, especially because other factions will get a lot of points from that booster.
Exactly.
So
that's bad. That's just bad.
That's not good. The QIC and 2 credits, and also the step booster, I think are 2 good boosters for Hadsch. Why not?
Oh yeah, especially if you want to go for that. If you're talking round 1, if you want to go for that minus pre we'll be talking about, then definitely. Maybe you can terraform 1 blue or orange planet, and then you go at navigation 2, and then you start jumping from planet to planet, or you use the QAC for a Gaia planet, or to get to a faraway red one. Yeah,
Correct.
of course, those are really good. I think most factions like those boosters.
Okay, but the step booster round one is not always good. It, of course, neither of those synergizes with the academy opening, but that's
No.
not mandatory. That's not a problem. Speaking about the mines, I don't think that we like the bonus points for mines in play.
Why is that, Matteo?
No, it's a bit of the same reasoning for the bonus for Gaia Planets, because of course we can score from that, but I still think of Hadsch Hallas, maybe that's just a limitation of mine, as more of a build-up faction than a build-out. And if there's a Lantid player or a Gleans or Ambas, they will score more from the booster than we will do, in my opinion.
Agreed, especially in the early game, but probably even Hadsch Hallas then have at least one round in a game in which they go, crazy with their mines because they need to open them, they need to take planets. But yes, of course, that's a point of being, a vanilla faction with no specialty, is that we can score some points out of everything, but we're not super good at, exploiting every, last drop of point juice that we can squeeze out of, round scoring bonuses or round boosters or whatnot.
Yeah, in general, again, here we have some sort of the same reasoning that with respect to the round bonus ones, because again, 1 ore and 2 extra power tokens, okay, that's fine, especially once you open your PI, because you will charge 8. And so we could end in a situation where we have a very good following round, but that happens during the mid-late game, and so maybe we would like more scoring boosters than economy ones. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that's not bad either. 2 points per 3 stations. Okay, it's not terrible for us, but again, trading stations are not the best. I don't know. 3 points. Okay, maybe 1 knowledge and 3 points per lab really isn't our main scoring booster, but again, we can score something out of that. Why not?
Yeah, especially if you went for opening in which you only opened a research lab, then maybe you're able to open a second one, round 2, round 3, and then score 6 points out of that. It's not impossible.
No, but Bescots and Nevlas are going to score way more from that.
Yes, of course. Well, pretty much everyone is going to score pretty much more than us out of pretty much everything. So I get Hadsch Hallas just have to live with that. And so the only place where we really shine, the only field we really shine is the QAC actions. We already said that. Unfortunately, the thing we're really good at is probably the most contended aspect of this game. So for QAC action, especially round 5, round 6, is the thing that gets the most competition for. And so yes, we're super good, but no, sometimes that is not enough. So if we are transitioning into the end of this episode in which we give our final thoughts on the faction. So if I have to give a final takeaway about Hadsch Hallas, this is it for me. You are super duper good at rescoring your 7.6 credits Federation tokens. I've played plenty of games with Hadsch Hallas where I rescored that, say in round 4, round 5, round 6, and then I lost because that was not enough.
No, but you just ruined that. That was a good tale. Why did you have to ruin that?
Because that is not enough. Because I ended up, scoring in the range of 160, 170, and oftentimes that is not enough for winning a game of a 4-player game of Gaia Project in a very competitive environment. In general, I think so. I do not have any statistics here. I'm sure that Arun could provide us with some. So this is just my general feel about Hadsch Hallas, is that they're a faction that I very rarely see scoring some amazing scores. And when I say amazing, I mean in the range of 190. I've played and seen play several Gleans games where I saw some crazy Glyn scoring. I saw crazy Lantid scoring. I see crazy Bescot scoring. And these are all factions that are normally thought of as not particularly good. But when they get the right setup, when they get the perfect storm, the storm is really perfect. Then they go out, they explode and they score 190, 200 points. I very, very, very rarely see Hadsch Hallas do that.
In the end, I have to agree, unfortunately. Even though I can think of some Hadsch Hallas where I scored very well, but the point is that they have a higher floor, but also lower ceiling in general, which is always true, of course, and it doesn't mean that you are losing. But, I desperately would like to talk to a real Hadsch Hallas expert, because they are
hardcore Hadsch Hallas player.
Yes, a very passionate player, because a lot of people plays them, but I am yet to see a true Hadsch Hallas hero, invents weird stuff. Anyway, what do you think about closing this with a Q&A session? Will it be fine?
Yes, let's go.
I hope that that you didn't notice this, but there was a hiatus of a few days between the last session and this one.
Yeah, because of the magic of time. So I'm not sure if you're aware how time works, dear listeners.
But I was aware to ask people on the Discord if they had questions they wanted answered.
Because you're listening to this in the future, we're in the past, but we're in the future with respect to some people that were in the past before we were in the future, and they asked questions in the past, and we are answering these questions now, which is their future, but your past, our present.
Thank you, Rick.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so Babuka asks first, what's the best side dish for roasted Hadsch Hallas? I don't know. I'm a vegetarian. What do you think?
Potatoes. It's just
potatoes.
I'm sorry. It's predictable, but also it always works. Potatoes.
That's what Fadib says. And in fact, Babuk replies, you can't go wrong with potatoes. So that's fine.
We're all on the same boat here. We're all great.
We already have a popular opinion. So let's go on. Galas Blackfist, you probably have answered that already. But my biggest question is when to go Hadsch Hallas or Ivits, since Ivits can climb any track and can form federations early. Even a good advanced tile on the top of Eco doesn't necessarily mean Hadsch Hallas over Ivits. I think we can pass to the next question. What do you think? No, this is the elephant in the room.
Well, I saw Babuk writing that Hadsch Hallas even have tech tempo advantage over Ivits. That is undeniably true, because they start at economy 1, so they will, if they want to, they can get to the top of the economy track before Ivits do so. So of course they cannot be together in the same game. But imagine that you play the same game with Ivits and then you play that game again with Hadsch Hallas. So Hadsch Hallas will be faster in getting there, no doubt about that. But always remember that Ivits have the intrinsic advantage that they will always form a federation before you do. If they really want to, I mean, with Ivits it's very easy. So you always make a federation round 2. You don't have to do anything specific. You you play Ivits and congratulations, you form a federation round 2. If you're willing to sacrifice something, you can often do that round 1. That normally implies sacrificing one of your QAC, but maybe not necessarily.
No,
sometimes you have to do that, but you can federate round 1 if you really want. So that's the problem. Sometimes you get to the top of a track before Ivits do, but then Ivits get there and they already have a federation and you don't. So
you said that perfectly, man. After all these years, I think that Ivits are broken and need fixing.
Yes. It's the only. Well, we will talk about this when we get to the Ivits guide. But yes, there are some specific, combinations of circumstances in the game that make Ivits broken, and everybody know what I'm talking about. But I won't say that.
Okay, then Elfrin, this is quite an easy one, I think. asks how to decide between a coin federation and an ore federation. Just pick the coins one, I think.
Well, there was somebody who was, arguing that you could take the two ores federations in order to deny it to your opponents, because of course your opponents, they want the ore more than they want the credits, like everybody playing Gaia Project, except maybe at Hallas. But that really depends what you're planning to do. That really depends on. I mean, if you have not opened your PI and you're not planning on doing so, then yes, of course, go ore if you need the ore. I mean, but if you're planning on playing hard on rescoring your federation, then the credit one is intrinsically better, I'd say.
You know what? I'm afraid of not getting my credits federation with Hadsch Hallas. That's the problem. That would be, I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem with Hadsch Hallas. In fact, one thing you should look for, and this comes to my mind right now, is which federation sits on top of the terraforming track.
Yeah.
If the 6 credit one is there, think very well before picking Hadsch Hallas, or at least federate very quickly, because if you don't get one,
we covered that.
You'll be in trouble because you don't have many ways to score with Hadsch Hallas. And if you start,
as we repeatedly remarked,
again, correct. And if you start to deny yourself one of those, that can be a serious problem, I think. Anyway,
that is circumstantial, and
yes, but my opinion still remains: if you don't have one, just pick the credits one, and then go with your. I know that not everybody will agree.
I mean, it's just one that you need. Okay, so let's be specific about this. The first one, probably, I will most of the time suggest that you pick the credit one for your first federation.
Okay, so we agree.
Then of course, go for the ore ones if there are any left, and deny those to your opponents because they don't make the same. They don't extract the same value out of credits federation than ores one. So yeah.
Okay, as the last question, we have a new entry, Fruit Pebble. Hi, Fruit Pebble. Hadsch Hallas is my favorite faction, so I'm looking forward to this one. Well, I hope this was good up to now.
I'm not sure he's particularly satisfied with this guy now,
but my tables usually let me get away with round 4 to 6 3 QSC action, so I'm super curious to see what the ideas are when you get denied the easy points you lose.
Okay. Well, I just finished saying that the game is hard even when you are not denied the easy points. So
sorry,
that's really going bad for you. But yeah, I mean, I again, I've said this already, but the point is when I win with Hadsch Hallas most of the times, it's not because I scored some amazing score. It's just because I scored in the 160, 170 realm. And everybody else had an average game, and we all ended up around there, and I won by like 5 points. But it's really rare that I play Hadsch Hallas, and I have a 20, 25 points lead on all the other factions at the table.
That's because you don't really have a tip of despair, I mean, with Lantids, you have like the magic tile, which is the 3 points per mine tile. Other factions, you have, something like that.
Sure.
But you don't have any with Hadsch Hallas.
The Gleans have their explosive points and the opening points. The best codes have many. The best codes can have the federation 5 points per federation round in which they can score.
They can also
very
score
big.
hard with labs, but
we
don't.
Yeah,
we just don't. Hadsch Hallas tend to win very balanced games, and I think that they share this with Xenos.
Yes.
In fact, they are the 2 most vanilla factions, I think, in the game.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, before we wrap this up, I wanted to get to that specific point. That is Hadsch Hallas versus Xenos. So at the beginning of this episode, I said that we had a faction tier list at the beginning of this show, and I pretty much stand by that until today. I think the most confused part of that tier list was exactly the tier in which we put both Hadsch Hallas and Xenos and a couple of other factions, and Geodans maybe, because it's really hard to rank these factions. But my point is, if I'd rather, so the rationale that informed that list, at least for me, I don't know how you feel about this, Matteo, but was that if a faction is very, very good at something, and I know that I can score a lot of points, there is at least one, setup in this game that I look at and I say, oh, this setup is good, is super good for faction X, and I'm sure that they can score a lot of points here. I still rank that faction higher than a faction like Hadsch Hallas that do not have, they never have the perfect setup, because they're a little bit good at everything, but not super good at anything. And so for me, I'm sorry, but when we said that Nevlas, Bescots, and Gleans, and I would say now Geodens, so I can see the perfect setups for these factions and enter a game knowing that I will probably score very, very good. And so this is why, for me, those factions are better than Hadsch Hallas. For me, those factions are tier 3, and Hadsch Hallas are desperately tier 4. Along with Xenos, which I really don't know which one of the two are the most, vanilla to me. Probably Hadsch Hallas, though.
Probably Hadsch Hallas, yes. That was a great wrap up. Thank you. I won't add much, except that the point is that when it comes to your turn to pick, you will almost always know that picking Iris is just better.
Yeah.
But we also love Hadsch Hallas.
Yes, because they're chickens.
And so in the end, I say, why not?
Exactly. Play fun, play Hadsch Hallas, go there, win, prove us wrong, win with the chickens with, jewelry, win with jewelry. That's my final takeaway. Yes.
Perfect. In the worst case scenario, you will end up very rich, which is
exactly
a great living, I think.
Exactly.
Thank you all for listening. Hope you had fun listening to us. Hope you find this useful. And well,
chicken episode
of Pyre Project.
Yes, ciao.
Bye.